Good morning, it's today again. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph, and I save 20% of my income in the form of rare coins and precious metals. Recently, I've been going through all of my metals and showing you guys everything that I stack, as well as why I have those specific rounds, coins, or bars. At the end, I found that right now I have about 43% of my savings in gold, 55% of my savings in silver, and just under 1% of my savings in platinum. But there is another metal that I do have quite a bit of and that you guys have been asking about a lot. This is another metal that was used as a currency for thousands of years. This one was actually used longer than gold and silver. However, most stackers either completely ignore this or think of this metal as a distraction. Some of you might have already guessed, and I'm sure the title and thumbnail completely gives it away, but today we are talking about copper. Right here I'm dumping out a bag of copper coins that I just purchased for its actual copper weight, which is pretty uncommon right now, especially with some of the older and larger coins that I have in here. But today we're going to go through this and organize it, see how I did, and talk quite a bit about copper. Before we go any further, I have to give a quick shout out to AKA Bradley. He had the first comment on my last video, so congratulations and thank you for all the support. Go find him in the comments and start a conversation so we can all learn from each other. Whenever I do this, whenever I sit down and start organizing copper coins by country, it always slows me down. There's something grounding about it. There's different designs, different languages, different governments, different eras, but every single one of these coins is made from the same material, the same metal, the same physical aspects, really closely to the same weight, and even the same purity. And all that alone tells you something very important, because copper doesn't care where it came from. It doesn't care about the borders, the flags, or promises printed on paper. Copper is copper, and that's why it shows up everywhere. Copper was one of the first metals humans ever learned how to work with. Even before iron, before steel, before gold was even practical. We used it for tools, weapons, farmings, and buildings. And eventually, naturally, we started to use it for money. Not because someone declared it as valuable, but because it already was. For most of human history, copper wasn't the metal of kings. It wasn't the metal of empires. It was the metal of everyday life. Copper coins were how regular people bought their bread, paid for labor, and handled daily trades. Gold sat on top, silver lived in the middle, and copper handled the bottom. A complete system. And that's why I think it's important to understand this part clearly. Copper did not disappear from money because it failed. Copper disappeared from money because inflation made even the honest money inconvenient. As governments expanded and systems grew larger, as spending increased, the smallest, most honest money became a problem. So instead of fixing the system, we changed the money. Once you see the pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. I actually do have this really interesting piece of copper that did serve as a money in most of West Africa. This is called a manila. It's just an open bracelet shaped piece of copper that was actually used way before silver and gold in West Africa. This manila is considered a medium size and actually would have been used as trade for up to a week's worth of food or possibly some tools or just for anything else in the market. Then, of course, we have our modern copper bullion. I'll talk a little bit more about these, but I think that the premiums on these actually match this somewhat ancient copper that I have back here, that manila I was just talking about. So why would I rather have one of these than an actual piece of history. These 1 ounce copper rounds currently have a melt value of about 25 cents. Maybe it's gone up to 30 cents. But a lot of people are spending $3 to $5 on these 1 ounce rounds of copper. Guys, if we were spending that type of money 10 times the melt value on something like silver, imagine buying 1 ounce of silver for $600 right now. Or imagine buying a 10th ounce of gold for $4,000. Guys, it just does not make any sense. Please stop buying these bullion coppers. I only have them because I won them in raffles on a whatnot show. When people are spending this type of premium on 1 ounce of copper, and when I say this type of premium, we're talking about 1,000% premium on just a single ounce of copper, this is going to distort the collectability and availability of copper. Copper is so massively abundant and has such little monetary value in it that if we start charging this 1,000% premium, once copper coins become legal to melt, just similar to how silver and gold are, LCSs will be able to buy this somewhat junk copper or this 95% copper and be able to flip it the same way that silver is flipped. If we took the same premiums, 154 copper pennies, even the Lincoln Memorial type, which would total to £1, would cost $50 to own. The melt value of these are already high at $5 a pound. The only way stuff like this is actually going to be able to become stackable is if there is a low enough premium, just like silver and just like gold. As soon as things start having a higher premium, then we stop stacking them. But for some reason, people are not thinking that these 1,000% premiums are high when it comes to copper. If we thought about that with silver or gold, right now, the premiums for silver and gold are around 1 to 3%. If we were to up that to 1,000%, then no one would be buying it at all. That's kind of where we are with copper. So all we need to do is start treating this more like the metal that it is and less like an extreme rarity. But why would anyone want to stack copper, right? I mean, I just said it's not a monetary metal. It doesn't hedge against inflation. However, this actually moves with industry. Copper is most used today in the advancement of technology. Stacking copper is a bet. It's not a bet on collapse. It's not a bet on inflation. It's a bet that the world keeps functioning. The power grids stay online, the houses keep getting built, and the data centers keep expanding, the transportation keeps electrifying, the civilization keeps moving forward. Gold is about trust, silver is about exchange, and copper is about functionality. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, and it doesn't make headlines, but the modern world does not exist without it. So how should I get my hands on some copper? Well, the easiest way to do it is actually finding the copper that is currently in circulation. Right now in the United States, you can still actually get some pennies. The ones before 1982 are made of 95% copper. 154 of them make a pound of copper that is worth about $5 right now. Other ways is that you can already start to buy copper by the pound in specific coins. For example, I have some 20 centavos or some 1 pennies from the UK that I was showing off here. Those are great coins to stack. Copper is low value enough that you'll be able to get together huge varieties of all kinds of world coins without spending a whole lot on premiums if you are buying them for the copper weight. Just be aware that this metal will not go up and down similarly to how gold and silver do. It does go up as technology advances and we start looking more into electric vehicles or more into advancing the electronics that we have now, as well as new construction, as new neighborhoods are built, power lines are put up, all that electrical wire goes into housings. Copper is used so much. The only thing is that there's such an abundance that there is not a huge shortage in the supply like there is in silver and gold. So if you do start to stack copper, just be aware of what you're actually getting yourself into. Another metal that I think is worthy of a conversation is actually nickel. Canada and a few other countries made these 3 9s nickel coins for quite some time, but we're not going to get into that today. No matter what you're stacking, just remember, every ounce adds up. So no matter how small, just keep stacking.